You're listening to the Mashup Americans.
Hey, I'm Amy Choi.
And I'm Rebecca Lair, and we are the Mashup Americans. And this season, which starts today, we are bringing you the ultimate guide to a mashup life. These are the new rules for a delicious, laughter-filled, bright-ass, technicolor life.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is the life that we're trying to live every single day. And it's also, I mean, this is a culmination of 10 years of the Mashup Americans. We've been doing this for 10 years now. It's 10 years of wisdom gained from our conversations with all of you, 10 years of laughter, maybe a few ugly tears. I don't know. I might be in the habit of doing that.
Me? No, I don't ever cry. I didn't cry in the live action Little Mermaid. Not me. Or in Matilda the musical. Not me. So one of the taglines we have and has always been, we are richly rooted and we are looking forward and creating the future. And sort of that's what this is. It's wisdom from our traditions and wisdom from our lives.
It's basically whatever the opposite is of like an Emily Post. Make sure that your napkins are folded in this direct way. But we do have some rules, like just don't be stupid and wear your shoes inside the house. Just don't do that.
Do not. And you, obviously, that's just a baseline. Also, have enough food for everyone. Like that.
Should we qualify what enough food means? Because it turns out we learned enough food means different things to different people.
Enough food is 50% more than will be like obviously eaten. You just like need to know that you have a cushion. Don't you think?
Oh, the anxiety and horror that grips me when I host and there is not enough leftovers for a whole 2 to 3 meals later.
That's precisely too little food. Like if you don't have enough left over, then that's too little. Okay?
Correct. Okay. Well, so that's one of our rules.
We do have some etiquette.
But the big rules, the rules of our soul are things like you have to be kind. Like we're building community and we're sharing the wisdom that we have because that's everything. The ways that we can be with each other and hold each other up and hold each other tight is what makes our lives fantastic.
And that's what this whole season will be. We're talking to some of the greats, mashups, the people that we love, including, we'll talk to Rainn Wilson, we're talking to Pooja Lakshman, we're talking to Jeff Chang, Channing Nicholas, so many wonderful people. But today, we need to start off. We need to start off with just the numero uno.
Oh, our dear friend, actor, writer, director, and one of the truly most generous souls just like walking around this planet, Randall Park.
Wow. We love that guy. You know, we met him because we were huge fans and we wanted to book him on our show back in 2017. So shout out to Phil Yu, another friend, the angry Asian man who made the intro. And we just all fell in love.
Yes. Shout out to Phil because he's another great example of all of us kind of buoying each other and making sure that the people that we love succeed and shine and thrive and just connecting all of the dots together. But I mean, since 2017 and that fateful conversation, Randall has starred in a rom-com that we made. He's advised us on how to run a writer's room for said rom-com. We've had endless conversations about why we cry so hard when we listen to BTS. It's just like tons of supportive texts and emails with, as Rebecca feels, very seen by many exclamation points.
Oh, boy. I am the queen of exclamation points. So, you know, one of the things is we feel like when you find your people and you keep that generosity of spirit and you keep to your mission and keep building together, magical things happen. We've learned so much from Randall, and we thought he would be the perfect person to share really how to live a good mashup life to start this series off.
And as he has said before,
I'm a Korean guy with Korean immigrant parents. I have a Korean wife and a Korean kid.
He's also an Angelino. And let's see, you'll know his work from Fresh Off the Boat, Ant-Man, WandaVision, Aquaman, Always Be My Maybe, among many others. And his directorial debut, Shortcomings, came out in theaters this past summer and is now available to stream.
Let's get to it. So, Randall,
Yeah.
we have a lot to cover today. We've been in many places with you, and you take up a huge corner of our hearts. And we haven't had a conversation like this on our podcast since 2017.
Oh my God, was it 2017?
Yeah, so a lot has happened.
12 lifetimes ago.
12. So many fascist regimes. So many pandemics. I had a whole nother child. So a lot has happened. And so we're not going to try to catch up on the last 6 years, but we are really excited about thinking with you today about what actually makes a good life.
But first of all, we do want to say fucking congratulations, because you just put out your directorial debut of a major film.
Thank you.
And we want to talk about it because, as you know, because I emailed you my screaming thoughts about it.
Yeah.
I saw it on opening afternoon. For me, the whole movie felt like it was about coming home to yourself and just whatever that means, being able to be in yourself and be who you are, which is, I think, so much of the Mashup project. And also realizing that maybe when you are honest about yourself, that you're like, oh, shit. There's stuff I got to work on.
Yeah, that's exactly what the movie's about. It's a movie about personal growth and change, and whether or not we have to change. Especially if the world around us is changing, do we have to change with the world? And for Ben, I mean, it's probably a yes, by the end there. He's just left with himself, like you said, and he has to face a lot of uncomfortable things and consider maybe growing a little.
Rebecca and I talk about this all the time, which leads into this larger conversation about what it means to have a good life or have a successful life that you determine for yourself, is that most of or Ben and Alice, I guess, the two main ones, and maybe Miko, they're just constantly having ongoing reckonings with themselves. And just being like, oh, wait, is this right? Is that right? And I think that's something about in the past, I don't know, decade, everything has been about being authentic, right? To the point of we're always like, why are you sharing that on the internet?
God.
Why does anybody need to know this thing? Why are you even talking about this right now? This is for you and your therapist. What's happening?
What do they call it? The youngins? Main character syndrome?
Main character syndrome?
I've never heard of that.
That's the thing, though, is that we're so invested in creating a story about ourselves, especially now, and being really true to ourselves.
Yeah.
That then I think it feels easier to get stuck in the version of yourself that you've projected out into the world.
Yes.
And easier to be like, oh no, this is the real me, and it's super important to be really me. But somehow that makes it, I think, harder to change, because then you're like, if I change, then am I still me?
Totally. You're almost cementing your identity and your this idea of who you are in this world, when really we're all so insecure ultimately and constantly changing, or we should constantly be changing and growing, and opinions should be changing every now and then, and if as long as we're alive and we're talking to other people and interacting with the world, then we should be kind of malleable.
There does feel like we get so entrenched in identity. I mean, one of ways we're trying to grow is if something isn't for somebody else that you like, how do I not then feel bad? Either angry at them for not wanting to like the thing that I like, or feeling bad and insecure about liking the thing that I like.
Sure.
And your movie, it's such a good, very focused version of that, which is around movies, but it can be around music as well. Something where it's about taste, but it spreads out into everything, like the schools you go to, or what neighborhood you live in, or what city you live in. And this feeling, right, we've gotten stuck in everything representing something about us. I'm wrestling a lot with that.
Yeah,
right
me
now.
too. Me too, because I think some of this stuff is okay too.
Yeah.
It's okay to be passionate about what you like.
Yeah.
And it's okay to embrace an identity and choose to, connect with other people based off of that identity.
Yeah.
But I think it becomes a problem when it's making you miserable, and I think I think for someone like Ben and for a lot of people in the world we live in now, it's making people very miserable.
Yeah, because you can't. You feel like you're betraying something if you try something different.
Yeah.
Or also, it's like that you're maybe admitting that your past self was wrong.
Yeah.
Or like needed to grow. I know that that's something that I struggle with a lot, is that I actually do believe intellectually that I should be a little bit embarrassed of like past me's, because it means that now I know better and now I've grown.
Right.
But also I'm like, well, that sucks. It sucks to be like, oh, she should have known better, you know?
Right. But that's like a sign of growth, right? I mean, that's like, we should all look at our photos in high school and kind of shake our heads a little bit, right? Like, oh my God.
But thank God we don't have digitized photos. Like, if that's enough, I don't.
True.
You each have kids who are a little older than mine, but how do I just be like, you can't put a single thing on the internet. Do not
Literally
do it,
ever.
that thing. Like, I am terrified.
So what if we're talking about, ingredients for a great life and like being able to grow is clearly one of them. What, Randall, has been a recent uncomfortable growth moment that's happened? Has there been something where you're like, oh shit, this is I gotta adapt this thing?
Gosh. Well, I think my experience with the movie has been a real opportunity for growth for me and has been both great and also challenging. And there's that part of me, it's my directorial debut. I want the world to see this. I want to get all the accolades, I want people to, and then you read that first bad review and you're like, oh my God. It seems like everything's going to crumble. But I think over the course of this process, I've really, I don't know, I've come to kind of enjoy it all, even the tough stuff, and to really feel so certain that all of this is supposed to happen the way it's happening. And I'm proud of the movie. I love the movie. The movie is not like my only artistic statement. It's one of many statements that I will make throughout my life. It's reflective of a part of me, but it's not me. It's a part of me, and it's a story that I wanted to tell, and there are other stories I want to tell, and each of those stories are going to have their own stories when they come out, and so I don't know. I've come to this really nice kind of place with it, and I'm definitely not as anxious or insecure about things, than when it first came out, where I was just like kind of very anxious about it all.
That's so lovely. And I think that's actually like a huge question that in our work, and especially I think in the past 2 or 3 years, Rebecca and I have really been asking ourselves this like really diligently, is just like, when you talk about accolades, like who do we need to validate us? Like, are there people that you're seeking that from? And like the rest of the world can kind of go to hell. We don't necessarily care about everybody's opinion, but there's some people where we're just like, oh, we want them to think that we're cool or that we're smart or that this is a story that resonates with them.
Like, we know Drake knows who you are. We saw you talking about that on
Drake is an old friend. Yeah, the fact that he, expressed to me that he was a fan was crazy.
Yeah.
It was crazy. And it's little things like that, where it's like, oh, take that and enjoy that. And don't worry too much about, when it's coming, where it's coming. Just for me, it's just like, just do the work, have as much fun as possible. Those things will come from who knows where and when.
Right.
But those things will come. And if they don't, that's fine too. Just really kind of immerse yourself in the work and have fun.
Yeah, I think for us, we talk also about, how do you not compare yourself all the time, right? Not that idea of like, don't compare your insides to other people's outsides, right? You have no idea. And again, what does success look like, right? Like, what does it mean? Like, success for us is having a business after 10 years that we like can pay our bills and we get to talk to people that we adore. I can't ask for more than that.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, what you two do for a living is you be yourselves. You get to be yourselves for a living.
Yeah.
And that's like, to me, the ultimate success. Like in any field, in any artistic form of expression. And if you can be yourself and somehow make a living off of that, to me, that's like crazy.
It's really crazy.
Yeah.
How do you keep
Oh my God,
from...
Randall, I'm going to cry. Okay.
Amy's having a lot of moments we can talk about what it means to make your life's work. And
Yes.
And also not just be, we've thought a lot about,
Oh, we can say it.
ancestral
I feel-
grief and trauma and stuff we're working through as humans. And so what were you going to say, Amy?
Oh, I was just going to say, I am lucky enough to have so many artists and like just beautiful, creative, interesting people in my life. And many of them people who, without any sort of pretension, can say something or that you could say that's just like, my life's work is this, or the body of my life's work, or this is what I'm building is my life's work. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, that is truly the most beautiful thing ever. And for me, my life's work is like breaking kind of a fucked up cycle of trauma that has happened for generations in our family. And I'm like, that's always number one priority. And so we're so lucky to get to do this kind of work, Rebecca and I, and like try to, as you said, just like get to be ourselves. But if I think about what a successful life looks like, it's that shit that has happened for like 8 generations in my family, like ends with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that probably is tied into a lot of like me just being able to be happy.
Yeah.
And then my kids see me being happy. And then we're like, oh, turns out that being happy in yourself can actually heal almost anything.
Yeah, for sure. And for you to do it in a medium that's accessible for so many people who are versions of that themselves. It's like it's so
Right.
fulfilling and inspiring, for people to see someone work through that. And that's good work,
Oh,
Thanks,
it really is.
Randall.
Yeah.
But I think one thing that Rebecca and I think about a lot and is actually super, like, would love your take on it, because you've built your career really like piece by piece.
Yeah.
And like your life too. You didn't get married when you were like 25, right? Like you met your life partner like a little bit later. And like our kids are the exact
You're
same
so
age.
old.
Like
You're so old.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
You look great, though.
I feel old, but
You are not. That all said, is that how do you keep from like moving the goalposts on yourself?
Yeah.
Because like you keep on achieving more, but sometimes I feel like, when you're really hungry or really ambitious, you really want to do big things, that sometimes you're just like, oh, but I haven't ever gotten there.
Or you don't take it in, not you, or that we've found that we don't take it in when we've achieved it. Like,
I don't either.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't either. And I don't know if it's a bad thing, but it probably is not the best thing to celebrate every now and then, but I'm definitely like not one to celebrate too often, I kind of like, if I achieve something great or achieve a goal that I've had for a long time, it feels great, but I'm already kind of thinking of like the next thing. Yeah. And I don't know if that's healthy, but that's just kind of how I'm wired, I guess.
Who do you talk to like about your ambitions? Or is it that clear, like that like, oh, I want this, and like this is what's coming next?
I talk to my wife and friends, and but I would say that a lot of it is internal and kind of just there. It just kind of shows up. Like this is what I want to do next, and I know that doing that one thing that I want to do, the likelihood of that happening is probably, pretty unlikely. But if I move in that direction, there's going to be something cool around there.
Yeah.
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 And I'll get to do something cool and it'll feel great. And then a new thing will pop up and I'll go in that direction, and I won't necessarily get to where I want to go, but I'll be somewhere cool.
Totally.
Yeah, and I feel like that's kind of been the and then I'll have like big general goals, that I'll just like think about and ruminate on, and 10 years later I'll be somewhere near there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
One thing that I think we wrestle with, and I know it's not just a woman thing, even though it does feel especially important as women and particularly as like mashup women, is this idea of how important it is to be liked and just likability in general. And I remember this has always been a pressing question of mine because I think I've been lucky enough to like make friends easily and generally be liked by people. But then it became something that was so important to me that, in order to be successful or have a good life, I have to be liked by everybody. And a mentor of mine, John Maida, I asked him this question, and it was at a moment when there was some inflection point going on with work. And I was like, how do I get over this? How do I get over this desire to be liked? And he was like, of course you want to be liked. Everybody wants to be liked, but like, you can do everything you want in your life if you're respected. Yeah. And I was like, whoa! It kind of blew my mind. And I know that is something that you have mentioned in interviews, a desire to just be liked. And I think that has got to be...
Yeah, crippling.
Can you talk about that more?
Well, first off, I do have a deep, intense desire to be liked at all times, and it's and at times crippling, and at times it makes for life to be a little harder sometimes for me. But I do feel like, and this goes back to the movie, to be successful, at least in the industry that I'm in, it's kind of like you have to be okay with being disliked, if anything, and to say something honest and truthful, or to do something honest and truthful, or to create something honest and truthful, there's going to be people who are going to not like you, and that's just like a part of it. And I think for me, that was another great kind of revelation of this experience, is that, people are going to like hate me because of this movie. And you know what?
Never.
But it's like, that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. Yeah. But I think maybe, the thought of that a few years before would have been really like worrisome to me, but now it's like, it's fine. It's fine.
This is where we do the thing again.
Yeah. Growth. Do you think you've ever convinced anybody to like you? Who like wasn't on board?
No.
Yeah.
I don't think it's possible.
That's what I'm realizing. Yeah. I'm like, why am I trying so hard? That person's never going to like me.
Never. I mean, unless they need a kidney and you got the kidney, you know, then like they could like you suddenly. But outside of that, it's like you cannot convince someone to like you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if you're just not, and again, similarly, I don't think it's not been my general issue. I'm lucky to make friends, but anyone who's not, and then I feel that urge, like you zoom in on the person who's not feeling you.
Yeah,
like maybe I'm going to do a lot of energy there. Why? Why am I doing that?
Yeah.
All the other people here aren't so nice.
And
do like me.
Yeah. It's okay.
It's okay. I know.
I don't know, you guys. I don't know if it's okay. You gotta be. I need those people. Rebecca actually has a specific. Question
for you
about
both.
Liking a community.
Okay.
A type of person.
Hold on. Okay, let me start here. Let me start. It's related to the movie. Remind me the white dude who is the boyfriend who's like what's a Japanophile?
Leon. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh God, I really cried laughing on the sidewalk scene. But okay,
I mean, we've
Rebecca.
talked about it before on the show, but Amy would like walk into someone's house that she was like had been on a date with, and there's just like Chinese scrolls on the
or
wall.
just like there's Chinese scrolls, or there's like sometimes like literally some sort of cosplay sword. Or like just too much anime in like the situation. I'm like, I gotta go, please, guys.
But you do it in an anime accent like when you leave. You like make your eyes really circular. So Inside Voices, trusted friends, right? It's like I realized I was like, I'm really around a lot of Korean people, and I love Korean people. And I know I'm an Angelino too, so it's like Amy like met her first cool West Coast Korean into college, and she's like, "This is a different being," and I was like, "What? I thought everybody was like that." Anyways, so I was like, where's the line where you're a creep? Do you know what I mean? Like, where is the line where you're like, I'm a, Koreaphile or something, or like something where everyone's like where, like, as opposed to just like, I'm just a person who happens to have a lot of Korean friends, and I'm an army wife. I'm not army. I'm not like only watching K-dramas and like practicing Korean. Okay. But
you are wearing a hanbok right now, which is like, which I didn't want to say anything.
I got it made. It's a special silk from Daegu. It's in my colors, after I had my kid do his dole. No, I'm joking. Anyways, no, but I'm just like, where's the, like, so that guy was obviously, or not obviously, but it seems kind of like a creep, right? Like,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing about that character was it was very important to me that, the character is the character and does like certain things.
Like probably did have a samurai sword in his house.
Actually, if you look closely, there is one in the house. But it was really important to me that he be a good guy.
Yeah.
That was really important to me, that character wasn't, just
He's
this
not the reason.
cartoony, like he has a good heart, And those things are, could be problematic for some.
Right.
But ultimately, he means well.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And
that's what Randall's like, and that's how I feel about you.
Rebecca, you mean well.
Thank you for the kimbap that you brought to the studio this morning.
Literally, I was literally watching this beautiful woman, Korean woman, playing the like violin at the Hollywood Bowl yesterday, and I had this thought, I'm going to talk to Randall tomorrow. What's wrong? Is there something wrong with me? I was like, gotta bring this up. Anyways.
I don't know. I think it's different for everybody.
Right.
And some people are more put off by things than others. And some people can go overboard with certain things, which I don't think you go overboard with any of this
I mean,
stuff.
my hanbok, it is beautiful.
It is beautiful.
I've started an Etsy line.
But I mean, for me, I don't know. For me personally, things don't bug me that much, and I feel like I just don't have the energy anymore to think about, like, why is this person this way? What's their like ulterior motive? What I just think, are they nice? Are they nice to me?
Do they like me?
Do they like me? That's that's it. It just takes too much energy to for me.
I actually think that's a really important note as we're making our guide to a good life. Like, where energy goes. And I know, sorry, Amy, 2 Angelinas ever had talking about vibes and energy. But for me, that's like so critical. Like, why am I using my energy for that? Like, it's just not a good use of it.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe some folks have more energy and they could throw around that energy, and that's good for them.
They don't have children. They just have like their whole world isn't on strike. They can just put energy out. Yeah.
Well, I do think that there's actually something too about being able to. We always think about culture as being malleable. Like that's what we get to do, right? Like we're like floating in and out of a couple of different things. We're rooted in certain places. But part of where I think that I have realized that I'm actually the most comfortable is not necessarily like squarely in Korean culture, right? And like that's something that I know. It's not like squarely in American culture, but it's also just in the in-betweens. Like I love arriving into any city.
Yeah.
That feeling of like I feel so alive when like I remember, because it had been like, I don't know, maybe like 6 months or something. LOL, 6 months being a long time between international trips.
Yeah.
This was clearly before I had children.
Yeah.
But landing in Nairobi, you know, the smell and like the cabbies and just being like, how am I going to get to this place? And I got to find the hotel. And like, I need to get the guy on the street to give me a new chip for my phone and being like, I'm alive and feeling completely at home in being in a place that was completely foreign.
Yeah.
It was my first time in Kenya. And that feeling of cultural kind of, I don't know, amorphousness or of being at home in lots of different places.
Yeah.
Feels really important and like key to me of what it means to like explore and build a good life, and then also not be like coming home in a fucking African headdress or something, you know, just like
You are wearing an African headdress right now.
It's true. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I was gonna say something.
Do you like the pattern? I got it in Ghana.
He came in and was like, these gals.
These bitches, what has happened in the pandemic?
They went off
This podcast changed.
Okay, they're doing a bit, I guess. Yeah.
Oh my God. I love that though. And I think that's the thing about being in like New York or in LA is that you do get the opportunity to navigate and see and experience and really befriend and get to be close with people that are so different from you.
Yeah.
And then, you know, there's the balance of being like, how do I not be a fucking creep?
Yeah. It's just about being a nice person, you know, and being like sensitive to other people.
What is it when you think about the life that you've built, the kind of priorities you have in a good life and a successful life? What do you want Ruby to take? What are you hoping for her? Are there specific values or just things that you hope she carries on among these kind of ideas? Well, she's 10 now, right?
She's 11. Yeah.
She's 11?
Yeah, she's 11.
Oh, wow.
I don't know. I want her to be herself, you know, and all those things that entails, and I want her to be happy, you know, and to be nice, to be a considerate person, and then outside of that, it's just like whatever it be, that's great, but be happy, be nice to people. That doesn't sound right saying it, like be nice, but I think that's important, you know.
Kindness,
yeah,
a good sense of kindness.
Yeah.
What's something you've learned in parenting her?
Well, for me and Jay, so our daughter Ruby's on the autism spectrum, so there is a lot of kind of inherent challenges in that, and I think this has been kind of ongoing, but I've been kind of a little more thoughtful about it, or I've been thinking about it more, is that you know, her verbal communication is very limited. So it's like it's tough to know exactly what she's thinking because she can't say it verbally, and but she can, her immediate needs and desires she could express, you know, but to get a very kind of deep, nuanced understanding of what she's experiencing or how she feels, we've never been able to do that. But I think over the last few years, I've kind of, not that I'm okay with it, but I feel like it goes back to, we're doing our best and we love her so much, and that's all that matters, you know. And as long as she feels that and she knows that, then we know that, you know, at the very least, she feels safe with us and she feels love. And whatever she's thinking or certain specific thoughts, or it's okay that we don't know exactly what's going on, as long as like we feel that, as long as she's loved, that's it. Yeah. And I think I've kind of been less like, oh gosh, we have to figure this out. We have to, you know, find the answer to this problem, you know. It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's okay. It's a process. And we're doing our best.
That's so beautiful.
For me, like my source of divinity and spirituality is like the energy that's created between two people.
Yeah.
And so like I could feel when you're describing Ruby and your interaction that there's that, like the love is the sort of, the big spirit, if
Yeah.
that is. Like, you're like, you know it.
Yeah.
You know what's happening and without having her say it.
Totally. Yeah. And to have faith in that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to trust that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so lovely. Thank you for sharing that.
And I assume Jay is also kind, but I don't know her.
Yeah.
Like, she might be an asshole.
She's
It'd be really surprising. Would be very surprising.
she's a monster.
But there's the idea of like being loved well, I think, and like feeling that it's part of what we're talking about in the reverse of like how undoing stuff that is generationally been there, like being loved well or loving well feels like it gets in your bones. I don't know. It's like if you're loved well, you just are like, I don't know, I was loved well, so I have a bunch of shit, but it's in me,
Yeah, I think about that a lot. My folks are getting older, and I've been spending more time with them. And, I grew up with so many, just so many issues with how I was raised and the whole immigrant thing, and just wishing I was, I'd see my white friends and their families and how they do certain things, and everything was so, I don't seem so fun and rich and we had our kind of little lives, and I was just so like, I don't know, I've always felt like I was missing out as a kid, and then you get older, and and now today it's like I realize, oh my gosh, my parents were such good people. They were good people, and they were trying their best, and they were making mistakes just like I make mistakes right now. And my wife and I, we're not doing everything right, but we're trying our best, and to come to that realization, it's like, oh, that's all I needed, that's all I needed. So in that regards, I feel like we're doing our best. We're doing good. We're doing with Ruby.
I definitely scream at my children. I'm definitely like, well, they're going to go therapy for this one.
Yeah.
Like, sorry to them. But,
I mean, you're going to screw up your kids a little bit. That's just like, that's what's supposed to happen, I think,
Well, you're a human.
Yeah.
And then they're separate humans. That's a very confusing, right? They're like not just people. You can just like, hey, I need to give you all my wisdom. And then you just like make it better.
Yeah.
That's apparently not the thing.
No, it's not how it works.
So rude.
But I think that's almost like the way, Randall, you were describing what it meant to like create shortcomings and then put it out into the world and be like, okay, well, now this is the story, and this story has its own life, and it'll have its own journey, and it'll have its own like fans and detractors, and who knows how you will feel about it in 10 years and how audiences, the whole thing. And I feel like when you were saying all that, it felt almost exactly like how I feel about my kids.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, wow. Like you can do whatever you can do. And like, I think loving them is probably the best thing. Like that's so resonant.
Yeah.
What you're saying, just like being able to love them well.
Yeah.
And then they're themselves. I'm like that. As
you
Rebecca
guys,
says,
now
really.
I'm gonna start crying. It's like it's too much. It's like, and I'm very sappy. It's very intense. It's like, anyways,
does a good life mean that we all cry while talking to Randall Park?
Yeah, we also laughed so hard.
God,
like this is the
true.
range. We really covered it all. Well, we're getting to the end of our time with you. We want to be respectful because you're like your need to be liked, I feel like may cause you to never say, I gotta go, bitches. But just a couple.
Also, he's like a major director and movie star who somehow we have duped into being a friend.
Yeah, no, for real. I love you so much.
Love you.
Also, Randall uses so many exclamation points in emails, and I feel very seen.
I don't. So that was pointed out to me recently that I do.
Was
that.
it me?
It might have been you. Somebody did. And I felt very self-conscious about that. But then I don't know. I just do it.
Wait, I also do. And so we shouldn't be self-conscious.
No, we shouldn't.
Guess what? We're delightful.
Yeah.
Well, we had one other question for you.
Yeah.
What are you reading these days?
I'm like always listening to a bunch of audiobooks at the same time.
Do you ever, as an actor with a terrific voice, hear these audiobooks and be like, why?
Jesus fucking Christ. Wow.
I tried to listen to one the other day and I was like, I heard 40 seconds and I was like, no, absolutely not. This man is too boring.
Sometimes. The book that I'm listening to like 3 or 4 of them at a time, but the one that I listened to last, there's this book called Burn It Down. It's about like Hollywood and and Hollywood culture and just kind of the stories of kind of bullying and
Vanity Fair writer or something?
Yes. Yeah. And it's
was it resonant?
For me, a touch, but it definitely, I haven't experienced anything as bad as, the stories in this book. It's pretty awful, but that stuff is still going on, still going on. Yeah.
Well, you're going to burn it down with kindness.
Yeah, that's right.
You know
You're just going
what?
to continue to just be nice to everybody. Yeah.
I feel like part of what I've heard today, too, from you, and thank you for the generosity of spirit that you always show us and for just being here so present with us, but it's like that actually you kind of will burn it down with kindness, that actually, like, the more we can let go of, like, why am I using my energy for that? Or, like, I can't change that. Or, like, how do you accept, like, each of these are steps to something? I love the way you describe, like, you think of some big goal and you're like, I may never get there, but when I move myself in that direction, something cool does happen over in that quadrant, over in that there area. And maybe it's a year and maybe it's 5 years, but it does lead somewhere cool. Yeah. And all of this, it's like doing you're like doing it well, being kind, and like trying to cut out some of the other noise.
Yeah. For me, and I think for me, a lot of it is that I just have no energy. I'm old. I'm getting old.
So old.
I don't have the energy for negativity or anger. I mean, negativity, anger, sadness, all that stuff happens, and it's gonna happen. But if I have the choice, then I just don't have it, the time or energy to hold on to that. Yeah.
Should I bring back Cut It Out? Remember that? That's how
David
I feel.
Coulier. Yeah. That's right.
Oh my God.
She's eating kimchi right now, by the way.
Just on the white outfit. I brought my own chopsticks.
Yeah.
It was in one of the petticoats of her humble. She just whipped it right out.
It's lined with them.
Wow. Love this. This was the best. Thank you so much.
Of course. Talk to you guys soon.
Okay, that's it for us. Where are you putting your energy today? How can you channel Randall and just be a little bit kinder and a little bit more generous?
Thank you so much to Randall Park, our dear friend and one of the greatest all-around humans. We love you. Go stream Shortcomings now.
And next week, we have the internet's best and favorite astrologer, the one and only Channing Nicholas. Do you know where your sun and moon are? You don't want to miss it.
Make sure to catch the rest of the Ultimate Guide to a Mashup Life, where we'll have episodes every week all fall. And like and follow the Mashup Americans wherever you get your pods. And tell your friends. Love you.
This podcast is a production of the Mashup Americans. It is executive produced by Amy S. Choi and Rebecca Lair. Senior editor and producer is Sarah Pellegrini. Production manager is Shelby Sandlin. Thanks to DJ Rob Swift for our theme song, Salsa Scratch. Additional engineering support by Pedro Rafael Rosado. Please make sure to follow and share this show with your friends. Bye!